G'day guys, this is Holy Critic signing in on this lovely Saturday afternoon, well at least in Australia. And I do hope you're in a good mood today because I'm going to bring you some disturbing news that I've just come across recently regarding a veteran actor that a lot of you have come to know over the years. His name is McKellen, Sir Ian McKellen. He's been knighted. You might know him in roles like Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings or Magneto in the X-Men series. And a lot of people have been, because of his relationship with actors like Kevin Spacey and director Bryan, who are both accused of grooming underage boys. They're both homosexuals who groomed young boys under the age of 18 to have sex with them. And he was recently asked in a Oxford interview that he did on Gay Pride Week in England, and he said a couple of really, really disturbing things that I think I needed to bring attention to. And the interview is right here, and he was asked by this gentleman here about what his thoughts were on the Me Too movement, because obviously it's caught a lot of famous people in a dragnet from their sexual depravities that they've done over the years. And just listen to his response, his immediate response to that question.
Well, frankly, I'm waiting for someone to accuse me of something, and me wondering whether they're not telling the truth, and me having forgotten.
I don't think that was the right response, Mr. McKellen. So he's basically incriminating himself in this matter. He's saying, well, if someone came forward today and said Ian McKellen had done this to me when I was, a young boy, his answer would be, I can't recall. So has he done something in his history that could indict him on historical sexual offences? Well, he's just said it right here. And you can see the crowd kind of nervously laughs at this. And as the interview goes on, they start to get a little bit rowdy because his responses, he's taking all the wrong responses to this interviewer's question. But we'll just continue on.
But with the couple of the names you mentioned of people I've worked with, both of them were in the closet. And I think hence all their problems as...
Wait. Kevin Spacey, who is asked in the question, Kevin Spacey and director Bryan, who did the recent movie Bohemian Rhapsody, he was the director of that movie, he's saying for most of their lives they lived in the closet. Okay, but what does that have to do with the offences that they've been alleged to have committed?
People and their relationship with other people. And if they had been able to be open about themselves and their desires, they wouldn't have got into they wouldn't have started abusing people in the way they're being accused.
Oh, that is not a good response. So instead of saying that their criminal conduct is their criminal conduct, he's saying it's a mitigating factor. It's a co-factor because of their denial of their sexuality. So they're grooming young boys because they're in denial of their homosexuality. Oh, that's that. There's no good response that you're going to get out of that. So I'm not sure why Ian McKellen made that statement just then. Is that because he himself may have been in denial and committed offences like he indicated earlier in that when he was questioned? And as you can see, the crowd here start to shout out in response.
You have to,
they don't accept that they have, but that goes without saying.
But whether they should be forced to stop working, well, that's debatable, isn't it? I think that's rather up to the public. Do you...
Forced to stop working. Well, if they're in prison, Mr. McKellen, they're not going to be able to make movies anymore. And if they're not in prison, tell me what employer would want to work with those two cretins? If the alleged allegations are true, I'm not saying they are, but in the case of Kevin Spacey and Bryan, if what these boys are saying are true, they are pedophiles, and no studio will let them direct a movie or star in a movie ever again. So I'm not sure about why he's saying they should be forced to stop working. No one will give them money to work. So you can forget about the forced aspect of this.
You want to see someone who's been accused of something that you don't approve of. Do you ever want to see them again? If the answer is no, you won't buy a ticket. You won't turn on the television. But there may be others for whom that's not a consideration. And it's difficult to be absolutely black and white.
Yeah. Did you know Harvey Weinstein? Did you?
I didn't know Harvey Weinstein, no.
And he just brought up Harvey Weinstein then. Now, this kind of blows his earlier argument about the living in denial of your sexuality defense clause that he's used to defend his friends that he's worked with. Because Harvey Weinstein, was he in the closet? He was as far as we know, a heterosexual, middle-aged man. But did that have any bearing on the fact that he was, over the years, serially offending against these actresses that would need the part, wanted the part, because he was obviously, if you don't know who Harvey Weinstein was, he was the producer at Miramax Studios, and actors had to go through him. They had to audition to him to get the part on the casting couch, which has been known for many, many years. And what does Harvey Weinstein, what difference does Harvey Weinstein's offending have to Kevin Spacey's offending? Well, they're basically both taking advantage of their position over minor actors or people who can't stand up against their big dollars, because these guys are rich. He's $100 million. Harvey Weinstein was worth over $100 million. So you can't stand up against them. But he's saying, well, I mean, Kevin Spacey was in denial. He wouldn't have done the offending. He would never have offended if he was openly about his sexuality. But the argument isn't about him having consensual relationships with other men of 18 plus. He's groomed young boys. So that has nothing to do with the denial of his sexuality. Now, guys, I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments about what you've just seen in this interview. Are you shocked or surprised by what Ian McKellen has said as a homosexual actor himself? Do you think he should have worded his response a little bit differently in terms of not looking too defensive of these alleged offenders, but rather taken a more backseat approach and said that leave it in the hands of the judge and the jury in the case of Bryan Singer and Kevin Spacey? Because in my experience with working with these fellow actors and directors, I haven't noticed any pattern of predatory behavior, sexually predatory behavior towards other people on set, so I can't really comment. Do you think it would have been better if Ian McKellen had said that instead of providing somewhat of a defense, and a weak one at that? Now, just before you go, guys, I'd be super appreciative if you could drop a big thumbs up on this video, because it really encourages me to continue doing this hobby and bringing as much movie-related content to you as I can. And also, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a new release. But for now, God bless, stay safe, and this is Holy Critic, signing out.